We are a river city, a bold city, the First Coast, a place to create and to belong. Here, the sun shines a little brighter, and so do the people. We share a love for our region, a pride for JAX, and a passion for the beautiful game, dedicated to giving everyone a sporting chance. Together, we will elevate soccer and sport in our community by lifting every voice. We are Sporting Club Jacksonville. We are Sporting JAX.
Hello and welcome into the Sporting JAX Report. I'm Cole Pepper. Coming up, the Champions League final is set, what to expect later this month. Plus, thousands of local youth players tried out for competitive teams, what we learned. And we'll start with the first ever Sporting JAX schedule that was released earlier this week. When Sporting JAX kicks off in the Gainbridge Super League in August, it will mark the first time that a fully professional women's team is representing Jacksonville. And now we know when those games will take place. Let's get right to the schedule. The season opener will come on August the 23rd when DC Power visits Hodges Stadium. That'll be a huge day for Sporting JAX and for soccer fans in our area. That game will be a 7 o'clock kickoff. Most of the rest of the home games will kick off at 7:30 on Saturdays. After opening at home, Sporting JAX goes on the road to face the Tampa Bay Sun for the first time. That will start the three-way Florida rivalry that includes Fort Lauderdale United as well. Then it's back home for back-to-back games against Dallas Trinity and Carolina Ascent. Those are 7:30 kickoffs. After that, 3 straight away at Carolina, Brooklyn, and D.C. That D.C. game is a Tuesday evening matchup. The second half of the schedule includes the first home game against another Florida rival as the Sun comes to Hodges Stadium. After spending Halloween in Lexington, the following week in Dallas, it's back home to finish the fall portion of the schedule with 4 straight games against Florida rivals. Fort Lauderdale at home on November 22nd. Then at Tampa, followed by home games against Fort Lauderdale United and the Sun before the midseason break. The spring portion of the season kicks off with 3 straight home games. January 31st with Carolina coming to town, followed by D.C., and then the only Wednesday home game, February 11th against Spokane. The second half of the season also has a 3-game road trip at Lexington, Fort Lauderdale, and then Dallas before returning home on March the 28th to face Spokane. Then a home stretch, which includes a second straight home game, this one against Brooklyn FC. A pair of away games, including the only trip to the Northwest to face Spokane. It's back home for Lexington and Brooklyn. Then a Wednesday away game at D.C. before concluding the regular season at Carolina. After that, if things go well, it's the playoffs. It's great to have a schedule now. And it's time to start building toward the inaugural season for Sporting JAX Gainbridge Super League debut.
Well, from a planning sake, it's obviously really nice to have in front of you to know, how to be a little bit more organised and what to expect. But for the players, they've been asking, I think that they're really excited about, what's coming up and what they've got to look forward to. And there's actually dates set now and there's teams set in those specific time slots and days. I've got family members here asking, when's the schedule out so we can watch? How can we watch? So I think a lot of people are excited to really, become a fan of us and also for the players' sake, they want to make sure that they have that preparation in their heads, that mental preparation for what's to come. But yeah, it's really, it immediately builds that excitement for us, knowing that this is it. We're going into our first ever season, and I think that that's super exciting.
Absolutely, but the schedule makes it real. Now you can look at it and you can realise on August 23rd, the first home game, etc. It makes it very real, very tangible for supporters, players, staff alike. So it's a big day for the club. But no games to look forward to, but every game you should look forward to as a player, as a staff member, as a fan. Why would you not?
Well, season tickets are on sale now, so if you've been waiting for the schedule, time to hop on board. The countdown is on to the kickoff of the inaugural season. Time now for the USL Championship Game of the Week as we go to Charleston as the Battery hosted Hartford Athletic. After losing the record-setting goal scorer Nick Markanek, the Battery have not lost a step. They just keep winning and scoring. To Patriots Point we go. And early on here, the visitors would make their presence known in just the 5th minute of action off a corner. Emmanuel Semeda, and it is Jordan Scarlett on the end of it. He puts it away, and just like that, Hartford Athletic up 1-0. 22nd minute, nearly the 23rd, and Scarlett on the other end of it here, shown the yellow card for a bad foul in the area, and that's a PK. Taking a look at it as he goes through the player. That sets up a PK, and Cal Jennings steps up and puts it away. We're level at a goal apiece. Talk about Charleston. When they score, it seems like goals beget goals. Watch this. He winds up on the foot of Arturo Rodriguez, and then back to Juan Torres on an absolute bullet. It's 2-1 Charleston. Just the start of a big night for Juan David Torres. Second half, Torres with the assist to Josu Landry. It's 3-1 Charleston. And Torres continues to be right in the middle of things. Well, we saw a PK for Charleston, now for Hartford. And Mitchie Galena steps up and puts it away. Makes this a 3-2 contest. But just 3 minutes later, watch this, off the corner. Juan David Torres, Olympico, into the net, off the corner kick, 4-2. Charleston with the lead. That's the final, and that's one of the prettiest goals you will see anywhere as the Battery get the victory. And we now welcome in Mauricio Ruiz. Mal, we expected Charleston to maybe take a while to find their feet, but they've been just as good as they were last year.
They were, Cohen, and you mentioned there on the highlights, goals seem to follow goals for Charleston, even though they got a little bit of a scare against Hartford. They started slow, but once they get going, especially with the firepower that they have offensively, you mentioned Torres with the brace, replacing Nick Markenick with only Kyle Jennings, probably one of the most prolific goal scorers in the league. It's pretty impressive what they do in the offseason, and they're just a team that rides on confidence.
They have been playing so well. Of course, one of the most successful programs in all of the USL Championship. They just keep it going. Let's take a look at the standings here to see where things are here. Still fairly early on in the season. When we take a look at the Western Conference standings, we see how things are starting to develop early on. And San Antonio on top with New Mexico United, and then Monterey Bay in third. Tulsa Athletic, also a team to note here, hanging around in fourth. They've gotten off to a good start, Mal.
You mentioned it's early, but there's enough of a sample size, 7-8 games in, to know which teams have gone off fast and really put themselves in a good position. I agree with you. You look at Tulsa and New Mexico sitting in second place, Tulsa in fourth. Both of them with only 7 games. San Antonio already has 8 games in first place. Monterey Bay doing well in third place with 9 games. Once New Mexico and FC Tulsa really catch up to the rest of the schedule, they should, if they make the most out of those points, really get ahead. Those are the 2 teams that right now, from a playing style standpoint, have looked really impressive. All
right, let's look at the East. Mentioned Charleston. Battery hanging right there in third. Lou City continues to do what Lou City always seems to do. But how about Loudoun United? Somehow, against all odds, remaining atop the table.
They really are, and it's early in the season, but they are solid. I mean, not just from, getting results, but the way that they're playing. Coach Ryan Martin has them really rolling in the right direction. To me, Cole, the biggest surprises in the East is actually at the bottom. You look at Rhode Island, a team that made it all the way to the finals last year. We know they started slow last year with a lot of draws, but right now they just cannot seem to get even results kind of going their way. And the biggest surprise, you would say, is Tampa Bay Rowdies. They're in second to last place, and a team that's yet to find their way. We know what happened to them at the end of the season with the hurricane dislocating them. They have a lot going on down there at Al Lang Field. But a team that I wonder if, for the first time since we've known, will they even make the playoffs this year?
It's a big question for sure. Change of managers as well. We'll see how it plays out as the season progresses. Also this week, the Champions League final was set as Inter Milan ousted Barcelona in a tremendous semifinal, while PSG advanced past Arsenal. Now let's start with Inter and Barca. I can't imagine a better 2 legs of soccer on a stage of that size.
Cole, absolutely. And I don't know if that was expected by anybody, to be fair. I mean, Barcelona, we know that they can get forward with Rafinha, Lamau, Lewandowski coming off the bench, hurt, didn't play in the first leg, but they still have so much offensive power. But Inter Milan, maybe because their American fans don't follow Serie A as much as they used to in the past, maybe we're just not following them. We're not giving them enough credit. But they were so impressive, even in the first leg, second leg. Barcelona, 88th minute, getting the go-ahead goal to only see it go away and then to lose it in overtime the way that they did. I think they're going to be kicking themselves. They're a young team. They're super impressive. But from an entertainment standpoint, probably one of the best two-legged matchups that we've seen in a really long time.
And then on the other end, it was PSG getting to a final. They had been obsessed with playing in the Champions League. They kind of took a little perspective away from that. But, boy, that seems to have worked. Maybe took the pressure off. They've been tremendous throughout the course of this competition, and they get past Arsenal to get to the finals.
Yeah, and you got to feel for Arsenal, Mikel Arteta and his group a little bit. I mean, they've had such a good project. They continue to be the bridesmaid, never the bride, if you will, and always kind of finishing second place, getting to semifinals, and really struggling to get over that hump. But PSG, to your point, after that first round qualifying phase, whatever we want to call it, they've been solid. They've been the best team from a result standpoint and performance. They're so dangerous. I think the odds will give it to them. But if they undervalue, underestimate Inter Milan, maybe what Barcelona did, they'll be shocked because Inter Milan proved that they can hang with the best. But PSG is playing at an absolute high confidence right now. Dembele, probably the best player in the Champions League run. They're going to be tough, and I think this is their year.
As we've talked about, it also comes down to just one match, unlike a quarterfinal or semifinals where it's two-legged. Just one match, one result to win the Champions League. The final will be held May the 31st in Munich. It's the first time since 1979 that Munich has hosted the finals. And we want to invite you to join us for a Champions League watch party at Island Wing Company on Southside Boulevard. We'll be there with prizes and giveaways, plus an opportunity for you to celebrate with your fellow soccer fans. You see what the action was like last year at the Island Wing Company on Southside. A lot of energy, a lot of fun. May 31st, Island Wing Company on Southside. We will see you there. One other bit of USL Championship news on the expansion side. The team in Dallas has announced the team's brand. Atletico Dallas is scheduled to begin play in 2027. The team calls the Dallas suburb of Garland, Texas home, and we'll see them joining in a couple of years in the league. And we want to invite you to join us on Tuesday evening at Friendship Fountain for a special day in Sporting JAX history. We'll unveil our inaugural kit at a free fan fest. The event starts at 5 p.m. and includes food trucks and refreshments. To reserve your spot, go to sportingjax.com to RSVP. Going to be a big day and full of firsts for the club and soccer fans in our area. Season tickets are on sale now for Sporting JAX inaugural season in the USL Super League. The season begins in August and tickets start at $10 per game for students and go up to the field seats and premium hospitality. You can even pay for your season tickets with an interest-free installment plan. Get all the benefits of season ticket ownership from your first payment. Be a part of the first professional women's team in Jacksonville. Go to sportingjax.com or call 904-863-KICK to join the movement. Still to come, Becky Burleigh joins us with her perspective on the schedule and what to expect as the Super League heads into the home stretch. That's next as the Sporting JAX report rolls on. As the USL Super League season heads toward the playoffs, you can catch every game streaming on Peacock. Tonight, Brooklyn FC hosts Spokane Zephyr, and the Tampa Bay Sun travels to Lexington. Every match streamed all season long on Peacock. Let's get to the highlights from this past week. Fort Lauderdale visiting Brooklyn. Brooklyn have been struggling, but 19th minute, Jessica Garziano puts it away to give Brooklyn the 1-0 lead. Later in the match, 56th minute, Mackenzie George sets up Caroline Kelly, breaking a 1-1 tie. Brooklyn up 2-1, and they would have more just 3 minutes later. Hope Breslin with another one. Brooklyn goes on to a 4-1 victory over Fort Lauderdale. Spokane Zephyr hosting Lexington SC on the penalty. Amina Ekic plays every week. She puts that one away to give Spokane the 1-0 lead. Then second half, Katie Murray setting up one of the leading goal scorers in the league, Allie Cook, who puts it away. 2-0 Spokane with a victory. They have been rolling as of late. Tampa Bay Sun hosting Dallas Trinity. Early goings, 13th minute. Hannah Keene for the home team puts it away. 1-0 Tampa Bay, and it would hold up as the Sun get the victory over the Dallas Trinity. Let's take a look at the highlights, or rather at the standings in the USL Super League. As we're coming down to the wire with this season, 3 more matches to go for most every team. And right now, you see Carolina on top. They have clinched a spot in the playoffs. DC Power and Lexington SC have been eliminated from playoff contention. So you've got Dallas, Tampa, and Spokane right now in position to make the postseason, with Brooklyn and Fort Lauderdale also in contention. And we now welcome in Becky Burleigh, who joins us each and every week. Becky, for the first time in Sporting JAX history, we have a schedule released on Tuesday. What are your takeaways after taking a look at the first schedule in club history?
Well, the big picture is I got my calendar marked for that August 23rd opener, and I hope everybody listening does too, because that's going to be amazing. The schedule, I've kind of looked at it from both Jacksonville's perspective and the other teams. And, there's some times where there's going to be some tough stretches, a lot of away stretches together. But at the same time, everybody's got that somewhere in their schedule. And so it's just a matter of managing that when it comes along.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing here. We mentioned last week the Carolina Ascent had clinched a playoff spot. Seeding still to be determined, but 5 teams battling for the last 3 spots in the playoffs right now. What are you seeing here?
Totally, and that's what the sign of a good league is, in my opinion, that parity, because every single week you're going to be tested. And to be fair, you can't dismiss the teams at the bottom, because those players are playing for contracts, those players are playing for spots on teams. And so every week is going to be a battle.
All right, there are some teams that are trying to make it in or right on the cusp. As you look at the teams that are still alive, who are the most dangerous teams? Who would you not want to play in the postseason?
The easy answer to that is Carolina, because they've just, really run away with it a little bit. But I think the sneaky answer for me is Spokane. That just seems to be a team on the rise. They've found their identity. And I think when you have a team that sort of is crescendoing at the right time, you don't want to face them.
And no doubt about that. Well, last weekend there were 5 individuals inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame, including Mary Harvey and Carly Lloyd. These are 2 very different careers, 2 very different individuals.
Completely. Mary Harvey, I'm guessing she's probably not a household name for a lot of soccer fans, but boy, was she instrumental in the beginning of the national team program. And what she has done since her career playing has been even equally, if not more, impressive. Her work with the Center for Sport and Human Rights, that organization does some amazing work around the world. And I think she's just made a huge impact on soccer as a whole. So I'm all for her candidacy and her being put into the Hall of Fame, because that's somebody who really deserves it. And then Carly Lloyd, that's a really interesting one. There was never a doubt whether she was going to go into the Hall of Fame. I think which was a little bit surprising was her speech and her willingness to open up a little bit, which is something she certainly hadn't done during her playing career. And I don't know if motherhood has had that effect on her, but certainly her talking about what can be the dark side of competition.
And no doubt. All right, thanks so much, Becky. If you sign up for season tickets now for the USL Super League season, you'll receive a limited edition inaugural season scarf. Be a part of the first pro women's team in Jacksonville. Go to sportingjax.com for more. Still to come, our youth soccer spotlight, how thousands of local soccer players competed to earn spots on top competitive rosters. That's next as the Sporting JAX report rolls on. We are days away from unveiling the Sporting JAX inaugural kit. Already you can get official Sporting JAX merchandise, shirts, hats, sweatshirts, scarves. Go to sportingjax.com/shop or hit that QR code on your screen to get your official club gear today. Time now for the Youth Soccer Spotlight presented by the Bearded Pig Barbecue. This week we're hearing about last weekend's huge turnout for the competitive teams in the Sporting JAX Soccer Academy. Thousands of kids turned out at locations all across Northeast Florida to showcase their skills in hopes of making a team to play in a competitive team in the ECNL, ECNL Regional, or NP leagues. There was a huge turnout across all of the locations, including the newest club, Sporting Gainesville.
Record numbers for Jacksonville, record numbers for Palm Coast, record numbers for Tallahassee, and our new club in Gainesville, hugely record numbers there as well, which was really exciting and good to see. Was quoted by Jeremy, one of the directors there, said, you know, the name change and coming in as Sporting Gainesville has really made an impact immediately. You know, the fact there's a pro team, men's and women's, there's going to be the academy that gives all the kids a chance to go on that pathway. So everybody's excited by that. Everybody's excited by the new look, the new name, the new brand. People see this pathway and these opportunities that nobody else has and has never been the case in Northeast Florida. So for us to have this is exciting. And, you know, all the meetings we've had, all the talks we've had, you feel that in those meetings from the kids and the families. There's a real buzz.
Well, it's pretty clear that a lot of young soccer players and their parents are excited about Sporting JAX's pathway to the pros. I suspect this is only the beginning. For more on Sporting JAX in the world of soccer, join Mark Warburton, Stacey Balaam, and me every Tuesday night at 6 on 1010XL for the Coaches Show, presented by Sporting JAX. You can listen on air at 1010 a.m. or online or on demand at 1010XL.com. And be sure to join Becky, Mauricio, and me every Thursday night at 6 for the Sporting JAX Soccer Hour. We cover the entire soccer world, including Sporting JAX and the USL. Thursday nights at 6 on AM 930 Fox Sports Radio Jacksonville or the iHeart app. Still to come, how the battle for the final Champions League spots will play out in the Premier League. That's next as the Sporting JAX report rolls on. Starting next week, you can catch the Sporting JAX report every Saturday at 12:30 on NBC 12. We will bring you everything that's going on around the game of soccer and with Sporting JAX. You can also find us on demand on First Coast News Plus and the Sporting JAX YouTube channel. Coming up after we're done, it's Bournemouth hosting Aston Villa. This is a big one for Villa. They're fighting to return to the Champions League. Mauricio, these games of consequence for teams that aren't going to win the league, but there's certainly a lot to be played for right now.
There is a lot to be played for, and Cole, when you look at the top 10, really the only team that's not in good form is Nottingham Forest, and not a really good time for them to not to be in good form with the season that they've had. But Aston Villa, they see the light at the end of the tunnel to get back into the Champions League, only 1 point away from that slot. There's a big game against Bournemouth, which is a really good team, unbeaten in the last 5.
Yeah, between 3rd and 7th, just 4 points separate those teams, and only the top 5 will go to the Champions League. So there are going to be some disappointed clubs here who have had very good seasons.
Well, and the biggest game of this weekend, Newcastle versus Chelsea. That game is going to change really the landscape because it's really the only matchup between, as you mentioned, 3 to 7. So that has a huge impact on the weekend. Yeah,
that's number 3 against number 5 in the table. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. Again, 5 spots in the Premier League going to the Champions League this year. Mal, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you again next week. And we remind you to follow everything that's going on with Sporting JAX. Just follow us on our social channels, on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on TikTok. Most everywhere, it's Sporting_JAX, if not just flat out Sporting JAX, to get the very latest as we get closer and closer to the inaugural season. A lot of firsts still to come, including the kit reveal on Tuesday. We hope to see you there. Thank you for watching the Sporting JAX Report. We'll see you next week, everybody.